The views expressed, opinions given, and any communication made between the hosts and guests of What Are You Afraid of Horror and Paranormal Show do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Para X Radio, EMC Network, or all services that play this show. The hosts and services are not responsible for the actions of their guests, and the original rights of all intellectual property is retained by the creator, and all work is used with either permission or Creative Commons license. The show is for entertainment purposes only.
The raven. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the continents it wore. Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly, grim, and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Much I marvelled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore, for we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven sitting lonely on the placid bust spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing further than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before, on the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, nevermore?
Hey, it's Fox.
Oh, it's Phil.
And it's
Grimstalker from Pennhurst Asylum.
Grimstalker
Hey,
from
Grimstalker.
Pennhurst Asylum. What are you in for, Grim?
I am one of the doctors here down in the dungeon. I run the experiments down there, so we're looking for fresh victims. I mean patients. And we'll never hurt any of our patients. We have someone else to do that for us.
Oh, okay. What sort of experiment treatments do you run?
Well, we have treatments where we're making rat people. Rats are much more intelligent than the humans that we have on the planet today.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
Yes. We do limb surgery. Anybody who wants new limbs, we can certainly fix you up. We have a great variety of limbs, different sizes and lengths. Electric shock therapy, 20,000 volts tonight for $9.99.
Oh, just $9.99?
Yes. If you go over the 20,000 volts, there will be a surcharge.
That's not a very high charge. He beat me to it, Phil.
Yeah, yes.
Can you believe? Do you take Medicare?
Oh, we do, but mostly blood and organs.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. I left my wallet in my other pants. Could you give him some blood and organs?
Sure, yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
I got it right here.
Phil's got you.
I got it. All right, very good.
Thank you, Dr. Grim.
Grimstalker, yes.
That's Grimstalker.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. He's off. Okay.
Grim A-Stalker.
I think he's really a doctor.
I think he is, yes.
I think I had him.
Yeah, he was one of your doctors?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, isn't that strange? I think I knew him.
You know him. When did you know him?
When I was going to chemo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so he ended up here.
Is he retired or is he still practicing? I hope he's not practicing.
Oh, in Pennsylvania, he's still practicing. Yeah.
Well, that's a scary thought.
With the healthcare issues, he's like the #1 doctor around here.
Oh, man.
Oh, man, what a day. How are you, Phil?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. We're back at Pennhurst.
Yeah, we're here again. Tonight, I'm excited to go through these. I'm going to start going through some of these.
Yeah, very soon.
And you're going to come with me.
Oh, it's going to be great.
You've done some last week, though.
We did. Yeah, Allison and I did.
Yeah, you and Allison did.
And this is your first time.
This is my first time.
I know, and it's all new.
First time this year, yeah.
I know. We're going to get your reaction. It's going to be wonderful.
I can't wait. So we're doing a little intro here. We're going to be doing this soon, shortly.
But
and
episode 62.
This is episode 62, yes.
Dr. Fear of
And
Pennhurst.
we're calling it Dr. Fear. and we're getting ready to do this. I don't know what to expect. I have no idea what to expect. I heard just very minimal things, so I'm starting to get excited about it. I'm getting pumped up, and when we come back, I would have already gone through. And we're going to do what, like 3, 4, 5?
It's 3.
However many.
It's 3,
It's
yeah.
3. Okay, yeah.
The tunnels, the dungeons, the hospital.
Oh, boy.
All up on the website at www.whatayouafraidofpodcast.com. We put up the information. And you can get tickets. You can come down to Pennhurst. You can check out Pennhurst Asylum. We got links up on the website. And they are open through the first weekend of November. Yeah, they're open after Halloween.
Yeah.
So if you don't get down, you can come down after Halloween.
A lot of them are open till the first week after Halloween. I've done it one time. I've actually gone to one of them. It was like in November,
right
after Halloween, and you know what? It was cool. It was cool, but it just wasn't the same.
No, it's not, because you're over the...
Mentally, it wasn't the same because Halloween was like maybe 5 days prior,
right?
And I mean, all of a sudden, all of a sudden,
watching a horror movie in June. It's just not the same.
Yeah, I still do that, but
but
I don't watch Halloween themed movies in June.
Right.
So it's like watching like Nightmare Before Christmas or something in June.
Yeah.
And,
no, I get that. I totally get that.
Or watching Jaws in January.
Right. It's a summer movie.
Yeah.
No, I know.
I mean, a lot of people will do it, but I personally like to watch it in June or July, anytime after Memorial Day.
Well, we had a great week. Man, what a week.
Well, this was one of our best weeks.
I know. This was like it was our apotheosis.
Yeah. Katrina Weidman.
Yeah.
Interview.
Oh my God, Nicole. Katrina was just wonderful.
Yeah. She was a great guest.
Yes, she really was. Quite a professional.
Yeah,
she was. A performer and a paranormal investigator and a local Philly girl.
She was. She's local to Philly, and we thank her for doing that for us.
And she will be on October 20th.
October 20th.
On the show.
Yes, and before Halloween.
Yeah, definitely we're doing that.
Yeah.
And Lloyd Kaufman.
Yes.
Oh, what a fireball he was.
Yes, Tromaville.
Warning to our guests, he gets very political, but he says the things that need to be said.
He does get political, but I enjoyed what he was talking
very
about.
Much so. I felt like he completed thoughts for me and a lot of friends in indie publishing who are fighting the troubles that he's seen. It's like the guy's had 40 years. He's watched this happen, this catastrophe, that we're just starting to really fight now. So the man's a sage. He's a Cassandra.
I agree.
Telling us what's coming in the future.
Yeah. He, it was definitely one of them things where he got deep. He definitely dug in
and angry.
Yeah, he got a little heated here and there. I would say passionate too. He was very passionate.
He's a believer.
Yeah,
and a zealot.
He was very passionate about what he was talking about. He was going back too to the Vietnam War and speaking of things 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago.
Right.
And I mean that was great. I thank him for doing that for us because that was an honor and a pleasure. And you were in a book with him.
Yes, I am. I'm in Dead on Arrival 3 from Bloodbound Books. Right. It was Lloyd and Lily Kaufman.
Right, and that was a happy surprise for you.
Yeah, we had no idea. It was me and Tim McLean who developed our interview questions. Right. And then he's like, "Wait a minute, are we in the same book altogether?" So no wonder we guaranteed an interview.
And you were like, "Oh my God, I'm in here with him."
Yeah, I had no idea. Bloodbound Books.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool.
That is really cool. That was really neat. Hello. Hi. Would you like some candy? We have some sitting out.
Yeah, go ahead, please. But what are you afraid of horror and paranormal?
But we have to give you a riddle. Fox has to give you the riddle.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you tell me which famous poem this line comes from? Quoth the raven, nevermore.
I have no idea.
It's The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. It's a true poem of loss and love. Edgar Allan Poe lost several of his true loves in life. I mean, they all died of things like tuberculosis, which is common. And, it was just such a sad poem. But thank you.
Thank you.
And please enjoy Pennhurst, Yes, I have a thing. We're not giving out candy until they can guess my Raven riddle.
But we just gave it to her anyway.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she tried, though. She listened.
She tried, yes. Yes. What we'll do is we'll tell them we're not going to give it to them, and then we'll just give it to them anyway.
Well, it's a trick question. The name of the poem is in the question.
Right.
The Raven.
Quote the Raven.
There you
Nevermore.
go. I got my Raven mask.
Yes, you did.
Awesome.
Yes, you did. Quote the Raven. Nevermore.
Quote the Raven. But we're back at Pennhurst.
Yes, we're here.
Friday the 13th.
Day 2 at Pennhurst.
Big thanks to Jim Warner.
Yes, thank you, sir.
And you know what? We got ghost hunters coming. They're going to tell us about Pennhurst later. I'm thinking we go find some action.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
We're going to go do it, guys.
We'll be back. This is T. Fox Dunham.
Mrs. Phil Thomas.
We're at Pennhurst for episode 62.
Yes.
This is Katrina Weidman of Destination America's Paranormal Lockdown, and you're listening to What Are You Afraid Of? Horror and Paranormal Show.
It's Halloween, and What Are You Afraid Of? Horror and Paranormal Show is dedicated to bringing you the best tips for making your Halloween the spookiest and most delicious it can be in Philadelphia. I'm T. Fox Dunham, and we are at Pennhurst Asylum for episode 62, Dr. Fear of Pennhurst Asylum, and we are very honored to be speaking with a baking gladiator who is on Food Network on the Halloween Baking Championship for 2017. He's got a chance to win $25,000 and to become baker extraordinaire. And my wife and I love this show. He is Jonathan Elias, and he is out there making our Halloween nightmares come true in delicacies. How are you tonight, Jonathan?
Great, how are you? Glad to be here.
Really glad to be speaking to you. This is very exciting, and I'm so glad you're coming on the show.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be able to talk to you.
My wife and I are quite enjoying the show right now, and I'd like to know, how did you get started?
They scout for people on all over the internet through social media, trying to find, pastry chefs and whatnot. So I have been on another show called Guys Grocery Games. I'm sure you're familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
They liked me from the first thing I did, and they're like, hey, so they shoot you a call and see if you're interested in doing it. Well, I'm a Halloween fanatic already. Paired up with my love for pastries and whatnot, it just went perfectly. So you have to do the whole casting process, and if they like you, they eventually cast you on. It's about a 3-month thing before you actually found out that you're casted.
It's a lot like that in writing, too. It's a long, long wait. And were you thrilled when you were casted?
Oh, yeah. I was absolutely thrilled. I mean, this is the show I always wanted to be on because I do love Halloween, and it's totally my thing. It was meant to be, and that's exactly what I told them. Like, I feel like this was meant to be. You guys called me for this because it was meant to be.
My wife and I are up to episode 3. We're loving it so far. We're rooting for you, which is why we,
Much. I appreciate it.
And real quick, before we get into this, I just have a quick question for you. Now,
Yeah.
Pumpkin pies. I have a bet with my wife. I'm an amateur baker. I do that when
Okay.
I'm not writing. When you write, it takes years to get some kind of approval for it or credit, but when you bake, it's instant. It's like it's done. My wife loves this, so I sort of do that to get some thrill out of it. Now, I want to make a pumpkin pie from scratch, from a baking pumpkin, and I have a bet with her. I'll be allowed to do this if you've ever done it.
I have done it only once, believe it or not. It's a lot more work, and the thing is, I'm kind of like at the point where I do so many things, I'm just like, I just make the easy way. I take the canned pumpkin.
Okay.
But it is really delicious. A little secret, I don't know what kind of recipe you found or whatnot. Throw the pumpkin in the microwave.
Okay.
It cooks the flesh a lot faster that way for you to be able to scoop it out.
Instead of baking it or putting it in a pot, I haven't found a
Yes.
recipe yet. Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Microwave, you got to make sure you poke holes. There's instructions online you can find, but just make sure it doesn't explode in your microwave, so you got to cut some holes in there.
Right, and it's my in-laws' microwave, so I better do that.
Definitely. And that, again, baking pumpkin, that is what you want. Don't
Right.
grab a jumbo pumpkin.
Yeah.
The flesh on a jumbo pumpkin is very stringy and very fibrous, and it's not going to make you a very good pumpkin pie.
Big pumpkins for faces, baking pumpkins, little ones for pies. So, comedian John Henson hosts, and you have 3 judges, and it's your job. They give you a task. They put you in a contest. They don't tell you what it's going to be beforehand. They give you a goal and a sort of puzzle to solve, and then give you a time period to do it.
Yep.
What's it like? I saw the snake one, and they said, your phobia is snakes. So
Yep.
what was going through your head in those few minutes there where you had to conceive of something?
So in those few minutes, what goes through my head is, what can I make that's going to taste good and also give that theme? The very big part of the judging is if you actually accomplish your theme and you have your flavor to go with it. So in that split few minutes, I'm like, okay, what can I do? And what's going to taste good? And what can I make the snake out of? You got to always think your theme,
Mm-hmm.
And how you're going to portray that. Can you pipe a little string of buttercream, and are they going to judges be okay with that? You just piped a little worm snake looking thing on the cake, or are they going to want something 3D and that like really gives them a wow effect? Those are all the things that are going through your head. And at the same time, another thing you have to consider is time. How much time do I have to accomplish what I have to make? Yeah, so that's a very, very important thing, is the timing. Can I could do crazy cakes, but some things take a long time. We have an hour and a half, which is not very much time to bake, decorate, plate. It's crazy. It's a lot crazier than it looks.
I bet, and it's interesting watching those last few minutes because everyone's decorating real quick in those last 30 seconds and hurrying to get it out, and it's
that's really how it is too.
It's
the last like 5 minutes gets really quiet in the kitchen because we're all like stressing, trying to get out trying to get our desserts ready and finished and make sure everything looks good.
It was great watching the snake one, and I make note of that because you looked at the camera and you were kind of like, well, I want to do something that's round. To do the snake, and I just love the way you visualize that. Yeah,
I thought of what a snake is known for, and they're known for constricting things. So that was something I wanted to tie into my dessert, the fact that it was constricting the dessert versus constricting some prey or something it's going to eat.
That's incredible, constricting your little cakes, and they just looked so great. And that's what.
Thank you. I was very happy with them, and it did win the round, so that was a good thing.
And we were so jealous we couldn't taste them. I'm sure they tasted them.
You know what? I didn't even taste it.
Let's talk about your favorite holiday, Halloween. I mean, we both love Halloween, and we're doing a countdown to Halloween 2017. We've got some great guests on the show. We've got you from Food Network. We just spoke to Katrina Weidman from Destination America. She's on Paranormal Lockdown, and she was incredible with her ghost stories. And we just spoke to Lloyd Kaufman of Trauma Entertainment, a little political, but he talked about what it was like being in the horror film industry. So let's talk to our audience about some new ideas, and some fresh ideas too about what they can do for October to bake for friends, family, even trick-or-treaters.
So one thing, I know a lot of people don't have time, and a lot of people don't have as much experience making, desserts and whatnot at home. So I always try to make it easier for them to make a nice display of desserts for their guests, and that it's not going to be too hard on them, and that they don't have to go buy all this equipment that they don't need, use it once. So I always say stick basic things that you love. You could take any of your favorite cupcake flavors and you can easily transform that into your own Halloween dessert, such as a little brain cupcake. You could take your favorite frosting recipe and just squiggle a little brain, and it looks awesome, and it's such an easy thing that really a kid can do, and it looks awesome presented, and it tastes delicious because it's your favorite recipe, especially with blood. You can do that so easily. You can make it out of piping gel, which is a simple thing you can find at all stores nowadays. Mm-hmm. It's like in the cake decorating section, though, not in the grocery section. Or you can even just take some ice cream raspberry syrup. That goes great. It gives it the illusion of blood. It tastes delicious, and it requires no extra work. Whereas I would make a raspberry coulis, but there's nothing wrong with using ice cream syrup.
My wife and I want to know some more recipes for hazelnut, if you want to throw those in. You've got your own baking championship. You've got 5 minutes. Tell us about hazelnut Halloween cakes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, hazelnuts are very expensive. Mm-hmm. They're not the cheapest of things. So you always want to look for a way of getting hazelnut flavor without actually having to buy it. If you can buy it, great, because they are expensive. I'm sure you know if you love hazelnuts, they are one of the pricier nuts on the market. Nutella is a great way to actually incorporate hazelnut flavoring into something. It's chocolate, it's hazelnut, it has that strong hazelnut flavor, and it's not very pricey. And a little goes a long way. You can use that in frosting. You can use that in a ganache. If you're familiar with a ganache, you put parts of heavy cream to chocolate. Mm-hmm. Throw some Nutella in there. You have your hazelnut Nutella ganache. You can even put some in the cake batter. It's so like you can multi-purpose it in so many different ways. So it's a really, really good thing to have. If you want to use the actual hazelnuts, I encourage it, but only use that in certain specific ways. I wouldn't. You could make sure you toast it. It's a very important thing. Toast your nuts always because it really brings out the flavor. Grind it up and you can sprinkle it on top. You can even do that. Like think if you're doing a graveyard cake. Mix that with some Oreo, crushed Oreo, and hazelnut. You get the texture from the Oreo, texture from the hazelnuts.
Oh,
it'll be a delicious cake. Yeah,
that's incredible. You're making my mouth water as I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna try these things, and it's funny because my instinct as a novice is to try to make it as complicated as I can, because in my mind, as complicated as it can be is going to be the best it can be. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like Nutella is great for this. And
it is. It's fantastic. Another thing you can do with the real hazelnuts, if you're making your classic sugar cookie, if you're making your own type of cookie, using the hazelnuts inside of, let's say you're making some witch fingers like we did in episode 2, you could take that hazelnut, toast it, grind it up, mix it into your sugar cookie. It's going to give you a little crunch, that hazelnut flavor. It's going to turn your sugar cookie into it's going to take it to a whole nother level.
That's, wow. Okay, I'm rewatching episode 2, so I can check this out.
So a typical, we made witch fingers in episode 2, and a typical cookie that's good for some kind of shaped cookie, you need some kind of stiff cookie dough. Sugar cookie, cutout cookies that will hold their shape and their integrity when they're baked. And you can easily, like I said, incorporate the hazelnuts right into that. And it tastes fantastic.
Unfortunately, my in-laws and my wife gets mad at me because I keep baking and they keep putting on weight and they blame me. So I have to...
Oh, trust me. My mom killed me throughout culinary school. She was very angry with me. But she didn't complain when she was eating it, only afterwards.
Right, exactly. And I mean, and you have to learn to choose your battles,
Exactly. She only complained after.
Another What Are You Afraid of Horror and Paranormal Show baking challenge for Jonathan Elias. You're a mom or a dad. Your kids have just come to you at 5 o'clock at night, as kids do, and say, by the way, I need you to bake something for me for my Halloween party tomorrow at school or I fail. What would you tell them?
Go to a bakery, no.
Go to yours, right.
What would I tell them as far as something I can make for them to take to school? That's fast and easy that anyone can do.
Right.
Easy thing you could work with, spider cupcakes, spider webs. They're very easy to pipe. They're not hard. You could pipe that out of chocolate, stick it on top of a cupcake. You can also do, let me think of something cool.
Sure, take your time. The magic of
Throw me on the spot there, huh?
Oh, yeah. You must be used to it by now.
I know, right? I'm just trying to think of something easy. Another thing you can do is take, for instance, an Oreo, dip that in chocolate, and add some cool edible eyes to it, which you can buy those ready during the Halloween season. You'll always find edible eyes. Or you can just pipe your own eyes right on the actual cookie and draw some legs on it. It'll be an awesome, cool spider. It's a delicious thing. It's an easy snack. It doesn't really involve much thing but dipping, melting some chocolate, dipping an Oreo in it, and drawing some legs on the outside with chocolate. And you have a cool spider. You can also do that on top of a cupcake. You can do that with your own cookie recipe as well. Just make sure it doesn't, like I said, that it doesn't expand too much when you bake, so you keep that shape.
Right, and that's something I've learned the hard way.
A little tip for making sugar cookies and whatnot. If you're making something that's formed, for instance, a witch finger, once you've formed your fingers or whatever you're making, make sure you refrigerate that. Once it's formed, let it sit there for an hour in the refrigerator, then bake it off. That way it doesn't expand too much in the baking process.
That's actually one of my secrets to my baking is that I refrigerate most everything first.
Yes. It's very, very important with certain things. It is very important.
Right, and you guys have, very good refrigerators on the show, so you can at least get it in there and get it ready to go in the oven. So,
yes.
Non-baking question for you. Why do you love Halloween so much?
That's a very good question. I get asked that question all the time. I'm a very happy, outgoing, exciting, I'm always smiling and everything. And it's the last thing a person would think is me liking Halloween. They always think Halloween's this dark, crazy holiday. And to me, it's just fun. It's exciting, getting to dress up in costume, going to a haunted house, decorating your house in with a crazy graveyard theme. And I love everything about it. I've done everything. I do the crazy 4 or 5 hour makeup jobs. I walk in stilts. I used to do a haunted house in my parents' backyard when I was 19 years old. I used to have about 400 guests, show up. So I love everything about it. Everything. I'm a big horror freak. I love horror movies.
What's your favorite horror movie?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you one movie that I really do like. Not so much the storyline, but the costumes. 13 Ghosts sticks out to me because of the actual ghosts that are in it. And if you actually have the DVD, they all have a little story behind each ghost. And to me, that's awesome.
That was the remake with Tony Shalhoub?
Yes, the remake.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, they all had very, very unique ghost characters coming at you. Yeah, with you're right, with little stories.
And that's what I loved about it. I'm not into hack and slash type of horror movies. It's not my thing. I like ghosts. I like crazy monsters, and that's my type.
Yeah, I'm a zombie guy.
Yes, I love zombies. Zombies all the way. Love every zombie movie. So my company is The Pastry Guru. You can find me on Instagram, just Pastry Guru, one word. My website is thepastryguru.com, and I do crazy cakes, wedding cakes mostly. Believe it or not, I don't get to really do Halloween treats all the time, even though that's what I love. It's just what I have to do. Check us out on Food Network every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 Central. Root for me, Team Jonathan.
We are definitely rooting for you, and we're loving the show.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show, and it's been incredible, and I'm sure our baking tips will help a lot of our fans, especially if their kids come running home and say, Mom or Dad, I need something baked for Halloween the next.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's lots of things they can make, too. If we had all the time in the world, we would talk about more.
This is Jonathan Elias on What Are You Afraid of? Horror and Paranormal Show on Parax Radio on 9 o'clock on Friday nights, EMC Podcast Network, and on all major podcast radio services, and we are counting down to Halloween in Philadelphia.
Your source for everything paranormal. Para X.
That was Scarecrow from Rachel Mason and a Little Band of Sailors. Rachel Mason is an artist, musician, and filmmaker from Los Angeles. Follow her on Instagram at FutureClown and Twitter at Rachel Mason Art, or find her work on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Rachel Mason Art /. Little Band of Sailors blend folk, prog, goth, and heavy metal. Think Jefferson Airplane meets Black Sabbath. Their live shows are often a bewitching costume spectacle of energy and contagious delight combined with haunting melodies. The band is fronted by Rachel Mason. Follow them on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Little Band of Sailors /.
Just wanted to give a shout out to Tim Moore and his blog, Stranger with Friction. He's starting a new horror anthology at St. Rooster Books. There's No Place Like a Host, an anthology of parasitic horror. They need submissions, and if they do well, they'll do a zombie anthology. Check out Tim's books and submission guidelines at strangerwithfriction.blogspot.com. Hey, give him some support. It just ain't easy starting an indie publisher in this market. Are you haunted by shadow people in the middle of the night?
Do you secretly love all things creepy and spooky, enjoying ghost stories and horror fiction from the best storytellers?
Do you have a true ghost experience you want to share, but no one will believe you?
If yes, listen to the professionals on What Are You Afraid Of? Horror Paranormal Show Friday nights at 9 p.m. on Para X Radio and at www.whatareyouafraidofpodcast.com.
What are you afraid of on Para X?
Our creepy and demented hosts are on call to provide you with all your spooky needs with true ghost stories, interviews, indie music, and new horror fiction. We are ready to scare you.
Para X.
Caliburn Press, LLC is a Madison, Wisconsin-based publishing company owned and operated by Alan Ledden. Caliburn works with talented writers, artists, editors, and marketers throughout the United States, and you can find their books through their many imprints that include Damnation Books, Eternal Press, Malaferia Press, Ciento Sordida Publishing, and Spiro Publishing. Please visit their website at sites.google.com/site/Caliburn Press LLC/home or Google Caliburn Press to check out their growing list of titles on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and any other place fine books are sold.
I'm Jenna Valadez with the Basement Files. Tune in Friday nights, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Para X Radio Network.
Quality warning. This podcast often records in the field to gather the best in paranormal materia from witnesses. Often, we cannot control the quality of sound in this environment, such as you may hear distortions or perhaps the occasional moaning. But then again, we're not about control, are we?
Embrace the chaos.
Mercy, a new horror medical thriller from author T. Fox Dunham, published by Bloodbound Books. Based on the author's horrific battle with a rare form of lymphoma that involved intense chemotherapy and radiation, Fox turns the horror of his experience into terror on the page.
William Saint is dying of cancer. On most days, death seems like a humane alternative to the treatment. Stricken with fever, William is rushed to Mercy, notorious as a place to send the sickest of the poor and uninsured to be forgotten, and finds the hospital in even worse condition than his previous visit.
Willie's memories faded. He grabbed his sack head, the sack head of the Scarecrow, picking at the exposed chicken wire to hold them in. However, the memories fell out of the holes in his face. They wormed and crawled from the leather flesh and the old clothing of the Scarecrow, then squirmed and wiggled down his body.
The grounds are unkempt, the foundation is cracking, and like the wild mushrooms sprouting from the fissures of decay around it, something is growing inside the hospital. Something dark.
Fangoria gives Mercy 3.5 out of 4 skulls. Dunham has channeled his many brushes with the other side into the exquisitely rendered, lyrical, supernatural hospital thriller Mercy.
It's feeding on the sickness and sustaining itself on the staff, changing them, and now it wants Willie.
Come now, Mr. Saint. Just a little more of that sweet milk. So salty and so good. You won't miss it. And we ever do so like our delicacies here at Mercy Hospital.
Part medical horror, part supernatural suspense, Mercy is a hard-hitting fever dream of a novel. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Tim Wagner, author of The Way of All Flesh and Eat the Night. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and bookstores everywhere in both print and digital versions.
Life is an addiction.
Let go. Let it all burn.
So what'd you think, Phil?
Oh my god, that was so awesome.
You had a good time?
Yeah, it was great. It was the first time I've been through it this year.
Okay.
And since last year. And
right.
Definitely a lot of new things out.
Right.
Yeah.
I know, they really tuned the place up.
The contamination was awesome.
The contamination was amazing.
So awesome.
I know. And it just, you're talking about my medical issues and what it felt like to walk through the place.
Yeah.
And like, the doctors are like, I'm going to take your hair and make a wig out of it. I'm like, I've had chemo, I've already done that.
The one that got me was the person up, I didn't even see them up there. reaching down and grabbing my head. I'm like,
yeah,
where
right.
the hell did that
Well, that
come
was
from,
me.
man?
I was.
It was
They
you.
paid. No, it wasn't.
I know it wasn't me.
No, not at all.
I saw it come down like out of nowhere. It
Oh.
was like, jeez.
We are at What Are You Afraid Of? Horror and Paranormal Show. We are at Pennhurst Asylum, and the place is going crazy.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of people here.
It is just insane, and we've got to evacuate soon. But before we left, we wanted to meet the famed paranormal hunters of Pennhurst.
Right here with us.
And we are with
Vicky. I'm with Ghost Hunts USA. We travel across the United States to all different haunted locations, and we investigate some of the best places. We have some of the best coworkers, and we just love people and love hunting ghosts.
Yeah, Jim Warner, the operations manager, and we got to thank Jim for letting us come down to
Yes,
last.
thank you, Jim.
I mean, they are busy, they're stressed, and we're just making it worse.
It goes with the territory.
It goes with the territory. But he said he's worked with paranormal groups before, but the people they're working with now are really open about it. Like, you guys don't hoard your material. You put it up on the web for everyone to see.
Yes.
And that's wonderful. Like, you're out there, to prove the science behind it.
Can you tell us a little about what you guys are doing tonight? You're going to be here all night, is it? Or
Yes, we'll be here till 7 in the morning.
All night? Okay.
All night. No sleeping, of course.
No sleeping.
Only looking for ghosts. So what we do a nice long walk around tour of the campus so everyone can see kind of the parts that you don't see when you come to the haunted attraction. You see the rundown, taken over campus, and then we go in the Mayflower building. We have access to that. We have, usually for the haunted house, they only have the first and second floor. We have the basement. We have part of the tunnel system.
Oh, we have it all.
Yes, and we have the third floor. So
And you do this every weekend, pretty much up here. Okay.
Now, so what do you guys
November.
do? Sleep when you go home? Is that what you
Yeah,
do?
pretty much.
That's what
Usually
we're
we
doing.
sleep we're like nocturnal now. We sleep during the day.
Right. Now, how did you get into this?
Okay, so I first met my fiance,
Right.
and he, a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago, he was actually trespassing up here, driving around, and someone had stopped him, and he was asked them, hey, can I help out up here? Those were the previous owners, and we had done investigations with the previous owners, and when the new owners took over, we saw Ghost Hunts USA was going to be working here, and we were like, wow, how cool would that be? So we reached out to them on Facebook, said, hey, we know this place pretty well, can we volunteer and help you guys out? And they were like, absolutely, please come join us. And they have been amazing to us.
And just to warn our listeners, especially on the East Coast, don't come and trespass up here.
No.
They have high security, they have attack dogs, they have electrical fences, they've mined the courtyard. No, they have poison gas.
But maybe not every day.
The new owners have installed they have a Terminator in the basement. And don't come up and do this without license or help or permission, because this place is a little dangerous. It is a derelict building in many ways, and there are many buildings that are closed, and the places that are very enticing to ghost hunters, you might end up becoming a ghost by the end of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, when was your first paranormal experience, Vicky?
The first time I was ever here with Ryan, who's my fiance.
Yeah.
He brought me into the basement, and he said, okay, go walk around. And knowing me, I'm looking all over. I'm a photographer, so I'm looking at all this awesome abandoned building. And he wanted to see if I would experience anything by myself. So he walked away from me, went to another room, and all of a sudden, I felt this rush of air in my face, like someone had just walked up and stood in my face, and I put my hands in the air, was like, whoa, what is going on? And I felt uncomfortable.
Right.
And I went, okay, I'm leaving. And I went up to him and I'm like, I don't feel good in this room. I'm like, I feel like I was blocked, couldn't walk. And he goes, oh, okay, well then he found you. I go, oh, great, thanks, because he set me up to see if, I was used as bait. And it worked.
Who was he?
He is a lovely gentleman that's in the basement.
Not Dr. Fear.
No, I don't think so. We think his name is David. They've caught that in the past of EVPs. We've caught it here recently, asking what their name is. But we've also heard he likes to be referred to as the King. But I won't call him the King.
Thank you very much.
King of the Mayflower.
King of the Mayflower.
Oh my goodness.
He's very rude. We'll get sarcastic response. No, you'll know it's him when you talk to him, because we've had guests, say, okay, well, if no one's going to talk to us down here, we're going to go upstairs. And we've caught an EVP after that said, go for it. So pretty much, that's his sarcastic attitude. I've gotten an EVP in the basement with a group of people where I heard a man whisper, and no one in that group whispered. And I asked out loud, did anyone say anything? And they said, no, we didn't whisper anything. What did you hear? I'm like, I don't know, I couldn't make it out. They played that back, and over my voice asking that said, shut up, bitch.
Ooh.
Clear as day. So he doesn't like me.
Oh, man, he doesn't like you. Oh. Is he going to remember you when you go back?
Oh, absolutely. Every time I'm down there, I get cussed at.
You've had some nasty encounters here. Has
Yes.
any spirit ever gotten violent with you? Like, have you ever felt pushed or thrown or attacked?
Yes, actually.
Can you tell us about that?
11 o'clock in the morning,
Okay.
we were doing a photography tour in the past, and I was in the basement of the Devon building, and in the basement there are classrooms, and I was standing in the doorway with my tripod, and I was setting up a shot. Again, Ryan walked away from me, went down the hallway, and I was left alone. Me not thinking of anything, my leg gives out.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And I felt a pinch, and I took my pant leg off to make sure I wasn't bit by anything.
Oh, my word,
Nothing
yeah.
was in my pants.
Okay, that's good.
And I looked at the back of my leg, and there was a red pinhole mark.
Oh, really?
And it hurt. It hurt really bad.
Really?
And for about a week, I had a black and blue on my leg that it almost looked like I had blood work done.
Really?
Oh, my word.
So that hurt. That scared the shit out of me. Pardon my French.
That's fine. Your French is pardoned. I would swear too if that had happened to me. Now you're talking about EVPs, which are of course electronic voice phenomenon.
Yes.
What do you use to record those?
We have all different audio recorders. Panasonic is very good.
Sony?
Sony.
Okay.
We have some other ones that work really well.
Sennheiser?
I don't know about that one.
Okay.
Now let's talk about what you've seen here. Have you seen things manifest here? Have you seen lights? Have you seen Okay, tell us about it.
We've seen white lights.
Okay.
Ryan has seen a full body apparition that he actually thought was a guest the one night.
Oh,
He
wow.
saw someone standing behind me, saw full facial features, what they were wearing, and his face pretty much turned white and green and looked at me, and I was like, what did you just see? And he left the room, looked around to make sure no one was really standing there, and he saw a guy just standing right behind me. That was...
Have you guys ever encountered Dr. Fear?
Dr. Fear. We keep hearing about Dr. Fear.
Dr. Fear guy. Have you ever...
The other night,
Came across it?
a group last weekend, a girl was using dowsing rods, which work really well for investigating.
Oh.
And she was asking yes or no questions, and what she kept getting was she was talking to a doctor. And when we asked if their first name was Jesse, they crossed for yes, and his name is Jesse Fear.
Jesse Fear.
And we asked if he was arrested for drug charges, and they crossed for yes, which was also a thing in the Pocono Record in the 60s, where he was arrested for selling narcotics.
Yeah.
So we believed that we were talking to him, maybe, but he liked her, and he would only talk to her, and he answered all her questions, and the dowsing rods kept opening up and hugging her.
Right.
Oh my word.
So maybe he's here.
It's a possibility.
Tyler, the boss of Ghost Hunts USA, best boss ever, he is a psychic medium, and he picked up on a doctor in the basement. So that could possibly be him.
Now, do you work for the company or do you volunteer?
Yes.
Okay, so
we work for them. Yes, we would have gladly volunteered, but they hired us with open arms. It was
You actually start as far as your season days for Pennhurst.
We are allowed. This was the township rules. We are allowed to do the investigations during this haunt season.
Okay, that's something I heard about.
I don't think they have permission yet to do investigations outside of that.
Yeah.
But we go until the end of November.
Oh, end of November. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just for those people out there who are just interested in wanting to know.
We started around September.
Okay, so
early September. Yep.
Okay.
And now it's the end of November.
And you do other sites too?
Yes, we go to Eastern State.
You've been to Eastern State.
They have the Kreischer Mansion up in Staten Island,
Sure.
New York. We go all over.
Really?
We go all the way to Iowa and California.
Really?
And Randolph County Asylum in Indiana is another place that we trained at, where we actually got to spend the night. That was awesome.
that does sound really incredible.
That does.
Yeah. So, okay, so you've done that stuff. You've been obviously investigating the paranormal for a little while. have you ever encountered anything what we would call inhuman, as opposed to things that were once alive or dead? We've interviewed a lot of paranormal investigators. In fact, we just we did a great interview with Katrina Weidman from Paranormal Lockdown. She was fabulous. She'll be on October 20th.
Cool.
And we talked to a lot of paranormal investigators, and they seem to classify spirits that they encounter either as once living or never alive. Is that how you would classify them?
I believe so. There's a lot of theories that we think that the spirits stay here because this was their only home they've ever known, and either they don't want to pass on, they can't for reasons that they should not pass on if they were, not decent in their living life, or that they don't know how to move on.
So you work with psychics?
Yes.
Obviously. What have been some of your experience with some of the psychics you've worked with?
Well, it's pretty freaky sometimes because we know that they take an object that they hold dearly to them when they get scared or nervous. So sometimes they'll stand there and they'll rub like the cross they have around their neck, and then we're like, oh no, something is not good that's nearby.
Right.
But Tyler has pretty much clarified a lot of the spirits that we've encountered when me and Ryan have investigated here, that we picked up voices, we picked up names, and just he clarified that they're actually here. What we caught, they're all true.
Wow. Right.
He picked up a man on the first floor of Mayflower that I've caught for years, that's always come up and talked to me, and he said that yes, he's really here, and he's watched over us if we've fallen asleep in there, that he's more of like a watched over figure, and
what makes you not want to
kind of angelic. I could fall asleep on the first floor in Mayflower, absolutely. If I go to the second floor, no way.
No.
You were talking about evil or things that are just non-human.
Yes.
He's picked up some things that are non-human in the basement and on the third floor.
Wow.
What do you think is the most malicious spirit in Mayflower building?
From what he described is on the third floor, that he said if anyone knew that was here, they would not come back, was some kind of figure with like 10-inch long fingers and nails, and just he seemed pretty freaked out about it when he told me, and I just stood there with my mouth open like, great,
and
you have a good night at the hotel, we have to go back up to the third floor.
And he had a vision of it up on the third floor.
He saw it up there.
He actually saw it.
Yes.
Oh my word. Yeah.
And there's something else that's in the basement of Mayflower in one of the back rooms.
Okay. Wow, that's I gotta get the hell out of here. Well, it's been great talking to you. I'm going to sneak off. I'm not scared or anything. Look at the time.
Make sure you stop somewhere before you go home so you don't bring anything home with you, that's all.
Oh, no, I'm cleansing in white salt tonight. I'm doing white light energies, and then I'm leaving the state.
The one night we were here during an investigation, the guests have free time after a while. So when we do our group, we rotate for a little bit, and then the rest of the group can investigate the building on their own. Mm-hmm. So we give them free time to go have experiences on their own. We were sitting out here in the courtyard, 6 a.m. by ourselves, me and Ryan, and I looked behind him, and I saw a dog-looking fox coyote thing with like 10-inch tall ears with these golden brown eyes. And it was sitting right over by the post, not too far from him. And he looked at me and said, "What did you just see?" And I said, "I can't even tell you because I've never seen an animal like that before." And it wasn't alive because an animal wouldn't have come that close to us and we would have seen it walking up, walking away. It was gone instantly.
Wow.
Instantly gone. And we looked it up and he said, "Does it look like this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it looks like a jackal."
Yeah.
I've never seen a jackal because I don't think they
and you're not in
exist
Africa.
Pennsylvania. Yeah, and we're not in Egypt.
You're a little too far north.
We looked it up, and what we discovered, and I talked to Pam, who is also a psychic for Ghost Hunts USA, because I texted her right away, like, I'm freaking out. It's 6 a.m., I don't know what's going on. And she said an Anubis, which is the Egyptian god of the underworld, presents himself as a jackal.
Yeah.
And in two forms, either the dog form or the form of the half man, half dog. And from what I saw was the dog form. Mm-hmm. And what we remembered, there is a spray paint drawing of an Anubis, the half dog man form, on the second floor. That's very eerie up there. and I feel uncomfortable going back there ever since then. I've asked questions on the first floor. Like that night, I went inside, I went in my comfortable zone in the first floor and asked on my dowsing rods, is there a dog-like creature upstairs? And they crossed for yes. I got on the Ovilus dog above, which is pretty much a device that's texting for ghosts. That happened. Both were dog above. And I've been freaked out ever since. I don't know why something like that would be here, why something like that would show itself to me, but Pam has seen it in the half dog, half human form.
Right.
So it does exist.
Incredible. Yeah, very
so
unusual
I sound
story.
absolutely crazy, and I should just admit myself somewhere.
Not at all. You know, if you consider shamanic terms, animal spirit guides, totem experiences, it's not that uncommon.
Right.
If you consider that point of view.
Right.
So,
I
yeah.
think I need to look more into that. But...
Well, give me a contact. That's what I do.
Okay, cool.
You know, we can talk.
Yeah, absolutely. You can ease my mind a little bit. I'm generally freaked out a little bit every time
That's what we do. But this has been incredible.
Yes.
We're up at Pennhurst. We're What Are You Afraid Of? Horror and Paranormal Show.
That's right.
It was great. We were walking through the site, and Phil was wearing his David Pumpkins jacket. You can see the tie.
I have it on right now, but it was...
And people were like jumping at him, going, "It's David Pumpkins! Wow!" Hi, how you doing?
Hi, I'm fine, thanks. I was here when the place was functional.
Were you really? And what was it like?
It was at the very end when we had to. I worked for the county, and we had to place people back in their communities.
Okay, so that's after they closed it, after the Bill Baldini, they were
It was
trying
right
to
at the
transfer
very,
people
very
out.
end. There were very few people left. I don't remember which dorm it was. It was 25, 26, probably about 30 years ago at this point. Yeah, but yeah.
Have you ever had any paranormal experiences here?
This is my first time here, back.
Oh, right. Hey, I thought maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. So what do you think of it now?
I'm kind of like, I don't know what to make of the attractions. It's kind of, I guess I'm a little torn as to...
Yeah, we can understand that. They are trying to be very sensitive about the history here. And we've, on the last show we did, episode 61, they gave us a little speech, and we had an interview about that here, about how they're trying to preserve the history. They're not trying to mock it. I mean, but, you know, obviously some scary things did happen here, too.
Did you guys go through already?
We did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I'm trying to,
Right, I
just
got you.
keep it light and
That's what
enjoy the fun of it. No, because we're staying for the ghost hunt.
Oh, you guys are here for the ghost hunt.
Yeah. People like you are my favorite who have never had any experiences. We love people like you because we just want to show you how awesome the paranormal world is.
We are What Are You Afraid Of? Horror and Paranormal Show. We're at Pennhurst. Check out our website at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com for ghost stories. We've got all 61 shows up there. Website of expanded information. We have a page for each show. And links to places like Pennhurst. You can come up. They're open up through November. You can get tickets. It's just a fun time. What was your favorite, Phil?
I think I like Contamination.
He loved Contamination. But we have been talking to
Vicky.
And you are from?
Ghost Hunts USA.
And we will have them up on the website. You can check out some of their hunts, and we hope to talk to you in the future.
Yes. Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows, visit electronicmediacollective.com.
This is T. Fox Dunham. We are at Pennhurst, and we are hanging out with, what's the name of your organization?
Love Canine Rescue.
The Love Canine Rescue. And you are?
I'm Pamela Garnick. I'm the PR director and one of the founders. And over here, Tracy.
Tracy Long, executive director.
And what is your mission?
Our mission is to save as many dogs from unnecessary euthanasia as possible.
Okay, I see. And when did you get started?
We started in June of 2013, so we're 4.5 years old now.
And you're a 501c3?
We're a 501c3, and we have saved over 1,800 dogs already.
That's fantastic. And you're up here gathering
We're
support
up
for
here,
dogs?
yep, we're up here, getting the dogs seen by people who might not normally be looking for dogs, hoping that maybe some of them will be interested in volunteering with us or even fostering so that we can save even more dogs.
Yeah, my wife said, if you're going to go over do an interview, will you bring back a dog to take home? I wish we could. I really do.
You can always foster or volunteer so you can get your puppy cuddle on without having the responsibility of owning a dog.
I live with my in-laws.
Oh, so much for that.
Yeah, next time.
Next time.
We will. And what's your website? What's your contact information?
TLCrescuepa.com.
Okay, and people can donate money there and help
People
your
can
cause?
donate money, people can learn about our dogs, people can learn about volunteering and about fostering and other ways that they can support us.
And have you two ever seen a ghost or had a ghost story or encounter? There it is. You don't know, do you?
I grew up out in the haunted parts of Delaware Valley, so I grew up near the Messenger House and the George School. So yeah, I've had a few fun experiences.
The Quaker School?
Mhm.
Yeah,
The George School.
I
almost
went there. I lived out in Levittown.
Yeah, I lived in. My parents moved out of the city. We moved to Langhorne.
Could you tell us a little about your experience?
You go downstairs into the one room, and you can. There are. It's dark, the thing where somebody hits you and you move to hit the next person in the four corners of the rooms, but there are only three people.
Oh, I've not
You're
heard
trying
of
to
this.
figure
Is
out
this a
how
legend?
George School.
Oh, right. I got it.
The Messenger House. My older brother was friends with Bobby Messenger, who was, by the time they were in high school, was not happy hearing about his haunted house.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your input. We give you all the support in the world if we can. We'll put the website up on our website and link, and we'll put some pictures up.
Fabulous.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, and all the grab
Some puppy cuddles.
dogs
You don't
around
have to own one to have
with
some
their
fun.
with their bandanas on, and the information is on our website. They all have it. They all come with the stories. Some are from Mississippi, some are from South Carolina, some are from West Virginia. So, and we have local dogs too. So, there's all kinds of stories and sizes. We do all breeds, so from everything from Chihuahua to, I think a wolfhound was the largest that we've had. So,
And what's that website again?
it's TLCrescuepa.com.
Well, thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
And now, we play you part 2 of A Man's Guide to Costumes and the Most Common Ways to Get Arrested from The Wish Mechanics. Stories of the Strange and Fantastic by horror author Daniel Braum. Check out his website at www.danielbraum.com.
2. Traffic stops. Oscar swung it onto Las Vegas Boulevard. "Where to?" he asked. "Home," Ed said. "Take it west. I need to be home." "No, east," Miss Sugarskull said. Oscar gripped the wheel and spun the car around. "Why the fuck you do that?" Ed said. "Don't know," Oscar said. "Turn it back." "I can't." "Aw, you're going to ruin the party, aren't you?" Cat-suited woman said to her sister. "His ex-wife said to head east," Miss Sugarskull said. "I ain't ruining my party for this guy's ex-wife." "Are they talking about my wife?" Ed asked Oscar. He pictured her, still and lifeless, lying on the rest stop concrete, her dark hair a bloody tangle surrounding her bruised face. "I don't know," Oscar said. "I'll get you home." "Yeah, we need to go west. I have to get back to LA before my PO realizes I left the state." "Everyone just relax," Miss Sugarskull said. "You can't go home yet." "At least slow down," Ed said. "Speeding's one of the most common ways for a guy like me to get arrested." Red and blue lights flashed in the rearview mirror. "Speak of the devil," Ed said. Oscar pulled the car onto the right shoulder and put it in park. "Be cool," Ed said. The cruiser pulled behind them. A cop exited and strutted over. "You know why I pulled you over?" "Speeding?" Oscar answered. "Affirmative, amigo." Ed hated the cop's condescending tone. "License and registration." Oscar retrieved the documents from the glove box and handed them over. "Do something," cat-suited woman said to her sister. "This is ruining the party." "Officer," Miss Sugarskull said. "Wait." The cop turned to her and put his hand on his holster. When they made eye contact, he froze. Something passed between them. Ed thought of the black and white swirl at the beginning of the Twilight Zone episodes he and Francisca loved to watch on New Year's Day. But there was nothing, just the woman's soft amber pupils reflecting the light of the waning moon. The cop returned the documents. "Look, you better slow down," he stammered. "Be careful when you pull out. You all have a good evening. He entered his cruiser and drove off. Oscar merged back into traffic. What the fuck was that? You won't understand, Miss Sugarskull said. Just thank us you didn't get busted. I can't even, Ed said. You gotta tell me what the fuck that just was. Doesn't matter. Some things just don't matter. Okay? No, not okay. But pull over. I gotta take a piss. That sure as hell matters. Wait till we hit the open road, Miss Sugarskull said. Ed didn't have to go. He was thinking of making a run for it. Something was going on here. Something that spelled trouble. Las Vegas's lights gave way to the starkness of the desert highway. Miss Sugarskull nodded her permission, and Oscar pulled over. Ed opened the door and slammed it behind him. Cacti taller than Ed lined both sides of the road. The day's heat still radiated off the ground. He walked between the cacti, careful not to snag himself, stopped in a clearing, and unzipped his pants. A tiny pair of eyes stared at him from the cactus arm before him. A black lizard with an orange and yellow pattern on its back basked on the cactus watching him. Ed turned away and relieved himself. A sting jabbed the back of his arm. He turned to see the lizard scuttling away on the sand. It stopped, turned its head, flicked its tongue at him, and then continued fleeing. He checked his arm. There were 2 neat red dots. Fuck me, Ed said. He zipped his pants and made his way back to the car. He opened the passenger door and buckled his seatbelt. You're not going to let us go west, are you? Ed asked. No, Miss Sugarskull said. But there's a motel a few miles up. We can stop there. Yes, party, cat-suited woman said. My milk still warm? Oscar scrunched his face and shrugged. Then he said, Hell yeah. Ed's arm hurt bad, but he made no mention of the bite or the dizziness he was feeling. Fucking lizard, he thought. I've shaken off worse than this. On the side of the road, he saw people walking among the tall cacti, but said nothing about them.
Well, Phil, it's been a great night.
Yes, it has. Yeah.
It's been great fun hanging out with you.
Oh, me too, man.
I know, but this is episode 62 of What Are You Afraid of? Horror and Paranormal Show. We are recording at Pennhurst. Not exactly alive, but not exactly dead. And this is episode 62, Dr. Fear at Pennhurst. And we will be back on October 20th with Katrina Weidman from Paranormal Lockdown.
You should check that out. It was a great interview.
Yeah, definitely check out the interview with Katrina. She's wonderful. And then, yeah, I'm sure. And then we're up with Lloyd Kaufman from Trauma Entertainment. And then we're at the King of Prussia Mall on the 28th, Malloween. Yeah, to do our Halloween special. Malloween! We're handing out candy to the kids. All right.
In a non-creepy way.
In a non-creepy way. And there's a lady, I don't know if she's in makeup, but she's walking a bedpan like a dog, and I think that's where we need to go.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Phil, you have a good night.
You too, Fox.
We'll talk soon.
This is Phil.
And this is Fox. And this is
Vicky.
What Are You Afraid of at Pennhurst?
Have you seen the girls of John? Girls of John with the flesh on bones, with the flesh on bones, in creatures, in Have you seen the girls of John? Girls of John with the flesh on bones, with the flesh on bones.
T. Fox Dunham lives in Philadelphia with his wife Allison. He's a lymphoma survivor, cancer patient, modern bard and historian. His first book, The Street Martyr, was published by Gutter Book, a major motion picture based on the book is being produced by Throughline Films. Destroying the Tangible Illusion of Reality or Searching for Andy Kaufman, a book about what it's like to be dying of cancer, was recently released from Perpetual Motion Machine Publishing, and Fox has a story in the Stargate anthology, Points of Origin, from MGM and Fandemonium Books. Mercy was recently released by Bloodbound Books. Fox is an active member of the Harvard Association. He's been published in hundreds of short stories and articles, and his motto is Wrecking Civilization, one story at a time.
Phil Thomas resides in the suburbs of Philadelphia and is an author and filmmaker. His screenplays have been produced into feature films such as False Face and Always from Darkness that are available in major retailers such as Best Buy and Target, as well as availability on Netflix and Amazon On Demand.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.